So this story comes as British investigators are hunting for 3 missing teenagers who may also be en route to joining ISIS. Let's talk about this with human rights lawyer Aamer Anwar and CNN military analyst Major General Spider Marks. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Aamer, I'd like to start with you because I know that you are the attorney for the parents of the so-called Jihadi Bride, who officials believe lured the girls over social media. Help us understand, why do you believe ISIS has been able to convince educated teens who are active in their families, to join this fight?
Well, I don't think there's any it's a very complex set of reasons. But ISIS, unlike Al-Qaeda, are much ahead of the game when it comes to the social media platform. There's no reason why bright, young, kind students wouldn't be joining, because ISIS is selling a package. I don't think they're particularly selling the package openly of being involved in beheadings, a perverted, distorted, twisted interpretation of Islam. But what they're showing, when you go onto their social media platforms, whether it be Aqsa Mahmood, the Jihadi Bride, as she's called in this country, or others, what they're showing is pictures of young men with beards. They're showing women with the hijabs and, looking down the barrels of the gun. And they're being told the package that you come here, you have a ticket to paradise, and that you are fighting a holy war. And people in this country, many young people in this country, are actually angered by the double standards and the question of foreign policy. Now, the problem is this: for the last decade, our authorities and security services are concentrated on the imams, on the mosques. But in doing so, there is no dialogue, no discussion, no debate that takes place in the communities anymore, because they're far too scared, which allows then for these young people to engage in a discussion and a vacuum is entered by the likes of ISIS, who provide them the wrong conclusions and the wrong solutions. And they are concentrating these young people because they are high-value recruits, which means they very quickly become, like Aqsa Mahmood did, the poster girls for ISIS, which then attracts furthermore. And every generation, I mean, there's been hysterical reactions, but I would also put it like this. Last weekend, we had 2 15-year-olds, a 16-year-old, that left this country to go to Syria.
Sure.
It's very much a process of grooming. Unless we start to deal with it as child protection issues, then we will continue to lose the battle against ISIS and others that may well replace them in the future.
Okay, Major General Marks, I wanted to ask you, it seems like all roads to terror go through Turkey. Everybody is seeking to get through that border to Syria. Do we know, why are those borders not more secure, and what is Turkey's role here?
Christi, Turkey plays an incredibly important role, and it's an amazingly complex challenge that we have. Look, Turkey and the United States have a very, very long history. They're both members of NATO. They're very strong allies. Turkey has a very modern military. It's a secular government. All of these confluences of interest. The challenge is that Turkey right now has on its southern border 2 failed states. They have Syria and Iraq. Turkey is not primarily concerned with ISIS. They're primarily concerned with the cause of the failed states, which is the government of Assad. So what is taking place in Damascus has Ankara mostly concerned. And the United States has not stepped up and said, we will act aggressively to assist in the toppling and the turnover of Assad, and then trying to get in a more reasonable government. So it really starts there, and then it gets far more complicated with the Turkish fight against ISIS in the border region, primarily concentrated around Kobani. So it's this mix of challenges, and we can't get it straight. We have not zeroed in on what the challenge is fundamentally that we can both agree on.
Yeah.
Okay. Aamer Anwar and Major General Spider Marks, we appreciate your insight, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Christi.